This episode of Access to the Arts is being made possible through the support of First Bank Richmond, with 8 locations serving Wayne County. First Bank Richmond and you, doing great things together.
I mean, we couldn't do what we do without First Bank, and how supportive they have been throughout the years.
I've had a very good experience working with First Bank. They have been there really with all kinds of different things that I do in my life.
We consider First Bank Richmond a good friend. They're there to help us sponsor our signature events. You always are out there to help each other out.
Besides the business part of it, we just get along really well. And it's beyond a working relationship.
Welcome to Access to the Arts. I'm Dave Paxton. Thank you for joining us. I am so excited because we are joined by a touring musician, a professor of music, a little bit of everything. If it can be done in music, you've probably done it. Pavel Safadit is joining us today. Thank you for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what brought you not just to this area, but also what brought you from the Dominican Republic.
Correct, yep.
And so give us a little bit of your background.
Well, I was very young, and I wanted to do music very early on. So my father took me to a missionary that taught me music, and he was, taught me music for many years.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a piano at home. Actually, the town that I grew up didn't have many pianos either. It had 1 or 2. So I couldn't practice. So I practiced on a table, and then until I convinced the pastor of that church to give me access to the whole church, so I can practice because it was very small. And then he did, So he said, you have to be out by 7 a.m. So I talked to my grandfather. He took me every morning at 3 a.m. or so I can practice until 7.
So you can practice.
See, so I did that, and I was in love with music. Music was, and still, my passion, right, and my career. So after that, I couldn't get a music career in the Dominican Republic at that point, and then I went to the capital, and I did computer system, and then I switched to medicine. I was 16 years old. Didn't finish. And then that's when my missionary, my teacher, from Tupelo, Mississippi, Tim Holt, he said hey, there is a guy coming, he might be giving scholarships. So I called my parents and I said, hey, I'm quitting school. I'm going back to practice, going back to what I know, that's what I know. That's what I know. I know how to practice and I know how to perform. Right. So I'm going back to that. So I did, and they were fine with that, and out of about 90 students, I got the scholarship.
And so that brought you to...
Actually, I went straight from there, went to Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Because I knew some people there to learn some English, because I didn't know any English. I still don't know very much English, but learning still.
Fabulous.
I'm learning still. I'm learning. So I went, then I went there to Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Stayed there for a little bit, learn, and then I went to University of Arkansas.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So University of Arkansas, and that's where
Razorbacks.
You could just you got to throw yourself in, not only into music, but have access to a lot of the instruments and a lot of many more people like you that had that ability. Mm-hmm. Just had to be a great opportunity for you to just kind of blossom.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was at nighttime. I remember I used to have a jazz band / Latin jazz band, and at nighttime I was just gigging at night.
Yeah.
So I never got a regular job. Yep.
So what brought you then from there? How did you make your way to Richmond, Indiana?
After that, I went to Kentucky for a master, began a master's there, then to Wisconsin, which began a PhD there, a doctorate, and then I lived in England for a little bit, then I lived in New York for a little bit as well. Then I came to Indiana. Mm-hmm. I came to Indiana. So That's
Okay.
and then but I kept traveling. Then went to Indianapolis, then came to Richmond, but I still live in Indianapolis. And I work at Amigos Latino Center.
So and the new album is what's it called?
Dia Bonito, which means beautiful day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the process of putting that album together.
Intentionally, I wanted to make it bilingual.
Okay.
Like there is a song that is fully bilingual. It's both in English and Spanish, and it flows together. So, but also with the presence of the Latin rhythms in it. So, so I just want everybody to, when they come to the concerts, to be connected. That's important, and we do have also instrumental. That we do Latin jazz and things like that, which people enjoy. Yeah, but that album is available on all the platforms. Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, Apple Play, even Napster, you name it. Yeah. So everywhere it's called Dia Bonito.
Dia Bonito. Yeah. And if they want to follow you on the social media, I'm assuming you've got some presence there as well?
I do. Pavel and Direct Contact.
Pavel and Direct Contact. Facebook, Twitter?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram. TikTok.
Okay. And you were mentioning you work with Amigos Latina Center, and tell us a little bit about what you do there and what the center does.
Okay, definitely, yes. Amigos Latino Center, I'm the executive director of it. We have a fantastic staff. They help carry the load of the whole organization. Amigos Latino Center has been around for 22 years, and is the only Latino organization in East Central Indiana. And what we do is we do education for the Latinx students, and we do health and social services for the parents. Mm-hmm. We realize, for the students to get an education of some sort, they have to be fed. There are other things, other factors that play into that. So we want to make sure that we help in every area we can, and we have a fantastic community here in Richmond, Indiana, that supports us 100%.
And then you also, as part of that, you've got a festival that is planned. It's going to be coming up in when? September?
September, yeah. The Richmond International Food Fest is going to happen at R.S.O Plaza here in Richmond from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. on September 4th.
September 4th.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're looking forward to that.
And it will have, obviously, food.
International food.
Yeah. Music.
Yeah.
I mean, because, please.
Yeah, music. Yeah, you'll have music, from around the globe, live music. Yeah, and a lot of entertainments for parents and their kids. Okay. And it's open to everyone. We want as many people as possible. In the past, we pretty much got like about 3,000 people during that day. It's going to be September 4th, guys.
Yes. Well, and I was going to say, if anybody wants more information...
Yeah, visit amigosLatinoCenter.org. That's our website. And there is the phone number. You can call us.
I am just amazed that you find the time to do all of these things. It is stunning. Touring, putting an album out. You've got the Amigos Latina Center, and you've got, of course, the Richmond International Food Festival, which is coming up again September 4th.
September 4th, yeah.
Yeah, 4 to 9 at R.S.O Plaza. Yeah. Outstanding. I just want a little bit of the energy that you had. Just infuse that, and I will be good for the next 20 years. Pavel Polanco-Safadit is joining us, and we'll be back on Access to the Arts.
Si están en la casa, pueden bailar con nosotros. If you're home, guys, just join us. This is one night that you won't forget. Yeah. Oh, eh, oh, oh, yeah. Oh, eh, oh, yeah. Oh, eh, oh, yeah. Oh, eh, oh, yeah. Oh, eh, oh, oh, yeah. Oh, eh, oh, yeah. One, two, three, ah. Oye, mamacita, bonita, filo minifaldas, preciosa, hermosa, my heart melting mama. Oye, mamacita, bonita, filo minifaldas, preciosa, hermosa, my heart melting mama. ¡Ja! Oye, mamacita, bonita, filo minifaldas, preciosa, hermosa, my heart melting mama. Oye, mamacita, bonita, filo minifaldas, preciosa, hermosa, my heart melting mama.
Back on Access to the Arts. I'm Dave Paxton, joined now by Allison Zeidel. You are with the Stamm Koechlein Foundation, and I'm going to admit something to you. I do not know what that is. So you're going to educate me and everybody as to what this foundation is.
No problem. So the Stamm Koechlein Family Foundation was started a while back in the 2000s to give back to the community where the Stamm and Koechlein families spent their time, their childhood growing up. So Dave Stamm and Terry Batzel were two people that came together to start this foundation and really promote youth in town and help elevate youth and help ensure that they are driven to be successful and that we're investing in programs that help youth. But we also invest in a lot of programs that are arts-based too. So we have several of them that mix the two. They do arts-based programming for the children in our community, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of just an overall support of our youth, having them, giving them access and helping them to find the arts, that's a huge indicator of future success for them, the more involved in the arts that they are at a younger age.
Yeah, exposure is huge. So our organizations, we support 27 different organizations and we give out over $250,000 every year. And really we're looking for programs and for organizations that do just that, that they enhance the students' lives and they help them see opportunity everywhere. And we know that there's a lot of studies that show that access to arts and arts education and music and all of those things do more than just help them understand that. It helps the students grow in so many other ways, academically and emotionally and everything. So we love supporting those. And we've supported also some organizations or some efforts that you wouldn't think about immediately as art, which is like the Richmond Meltdown, which is a huge family event locally.
Hey, that's art.
It's amazing art,
Yes.
Amazing art, but a lot of people just think of it as an event, but this is
Right.
really an outdoor gallery event, and it's great for the kids because they can get up and close and they can touch it. You know, rarely can you touch art in a gallery, and in the Richmond Meltdown you can, which is great. So it's one of the events we support as well.
How have you seen, or has it changed any of the process and the organizations coming to you in what has been a very interesting year? I'm going to say interesting.
Interesting's a great word for it.
Yeah.
This has been a very strange year. What we did last year, actually, we consulted with a lot of our nonprofits, and then we also consulted with a lot of other foundations, and we went to seminars and tried to get as much information about what do you do in a pandemic. And it turns out nobody had been in a pandemic like this before. So we were all kind of learning from each other. But what we did is last year we stuck with our partners. We said, we're not going to put you through the application process. We're not going to put you through all of this just heavy lifting during a year where you're already doing a lot of heavy lifting. We just stuck with them. Basically everyone, basically got the same amount of money. They just knew we were partners. We wanted to be there for them. We tried to help them by creating some programming here and there that gave them an opportunity just to discuss what was going on and how they could make the year better for not only their participants but staff. A lot of these organizations were going through a lot trying to keep their staff morale high, and so we worked hard just to support them as much as we could. But this year we're opening it back up, feeling like a little bit of a return to normal. So we're opening it back up to everybody else.
And has it been a return to normal? Have you seen?
We have. Yeah, we've seen a lot of organizations really thrive this year just because they had to be creative. They had to figure it out. So proud of the schools and how the schools have come together. We support a lot of the elementary schools and some of the middle schools. And just the way that those teachers have just banded together to get through has been amazing. But also with our arts organizations, they've gone online, which has been very new for them. So we've had concerts online. We've had concerts in the park that Richmond Symphony Orchestra have done. Richmond Art Museum did a beautiful job this year exposing people to the gallery, which many people locally hadn't seen, but since they were able to go online, now people around the world were able to see it too. So it's just a really neat opportunity for them to, and I know it's hard. I don't want to make it sound like it was a lovely time for everyone, but they were really, really creative and did a beautiful job. And
in terms of the grant process, you'd start to see some of that grant process talking about how they're going to continue and further integration of all the new media that they've had to employ. Exactly, They've actually found it to be a positive. You mentioned Richmond Art Museum, but to get that out, to get it out to a wider audience. Yeah, it's been wonderful. You hit the nail on the head. A lot of them have said, we're forced into this situation, but actually a lot of this stuff is working really well. It's working for teachers. It's working for the Art Museum. It's working for the Symphony. And we're excited about that. But we did change our application process to include a couple new questions that were kind of like, how did you deal with this year? What's your new normal look like? And how are you being more diverse and inclusive in your organization and your processes too? So it's been a learning process for us as well. Excellent. But you're feeling very positive as you head into the year.
We are,
Yeah.
and Monica Koechlein, who's our president, has great vision. She just is so good about being able to look ahead and forecast, but also be supportive of people and understand that it's a struggle to return to normal. You know, we all got pretty used to working from our pajamas all the time, and so the struggle of going back is something very real.
Actually being in a room together is a little,
I had a hard time finding shoes, grown-up shoes, I'll be honest. But,
all right.
Yeah.
Allison Zeidel, thank you for joining us.
Sure.
And we'll be back with more in just a bit on Access to the Arts. You're watching Access to the Arts. I'm Dave Paxton. Very pleased to be joined now by Kathy Gerton, president of the Richmond Symphony Orchestra. You're on the board. So, Kathy, probably didn't have a whole lot to do over the past year. It was probably just smooth sailing. Nothing big happened.
Sailing, nothing
at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we really don't have a whole lot to talk about. So thanks for coming. No, seriously, it had to be just a challenging year and year plus. For the board and for the organization.
Like all of us, of course, it's been challenging for everyone, but I think that we have a wonderful board and a wonderful staff, and of course our music director is wonderful. So we were sitting in a very good position with such great people to work with. Our board is very connected in all different areas of the community. Several of us are in higher education, so we were very much dealing with this. Personally, of course, I work at Indiana University, and throughout this whole pandemic have had a lot of access to lots of expert medical advice through IU, so that was helpful, but all the members of the board brought their knowledge to the table, so I think that worked.
It had to be fun getting used to Zoom board meetings.
Yes, well, I have been doing Zoom myself. We do it for work even pre-COVID.
Even
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
You were an expert.
Well, not such an expert, but certainly got to be better. But yes, I think the board adapted very well to that. Of course, we miss seeing each other, but really we were just, I think it was a matter of, it's almost hard to remember now, more than a year ago when there was so much that was unknown. So we kept, we just kept having to adapt. I think our first board meeting when this was just starting was still an in-person meeting, and I remember shuffling around the room and thinking, okay, now we all have to spread apart and so on. We didn't know at that stage.
Right.
Everything was so unknown. So we've just evolved along with everyone else and kept up with the most current guidelines, of course, following Wayne County
And
Health
it had to
Department.
be difficult because you really couldn't plan. You couldn't.
Yes.
Everything had to be tabled so often because you just didn't know.
Well, yes, that's very true, but I think it shows that both our patrons and our musicians and our staff, we were very resilient, and we were just ready to move in whatever way we needed to go. And our community is so supportive and very understanding. Our executive director, of course, Monica Koechlein, does a fabulous job, and she really did a good job of communicating with everyone constantly. So we just tried to keep people informed and be honest. We don't know. We're trying to follow the best guidelines. We're trying to make the best decisions that we can. There are some things we can't decide right now. Hold this space.
It had to be wonderful, though, seeing and being a part of seeing your community, your supporters, your sponsors all coming together.
Yes.
And actually becoming tighter, almost a more tight-knit, more a better community overall.
Yes, I would say so. And also I think what we did was develop some new and creative ideas that will continue actually as we continue to move forward. Probably the most exciting is the Sunset series, which we started this as a way to do something that would be safe outdoors. Luckily, we had the performances during the last season were outside, and we had wonderful weather, so that really helped. Something was on our side there. but outside, physically distant, people wore masks. We followed the county health department guidelines, and they were wildly successful. I think it's just a whole nother way to connect with us with our audiences, and free.
I do also think, as wonderful as it is to hear the symphony in the hall, but to experience symphony, whether it's a brass group or whether it's string or whatever it may be, hearing it outdoors where sound doesn't reflect, it expands and it gives a more aired feel to it, is really a fun way to experience it.
Yeah, it's very different, and so it's just a different type of way to experience the music. Of course, we all miss being in the hall and having our regular concerts, so that's what our aim is, to get back to that. But you're right, it provides a whole different kind of experience. We had both seated, and we will do that again this year, where people bring their own seating, sit physically distant, but also the strolling things were great, and you could just stroll from thing to thing. And of course, for those of us who enjoy a glass of wine, that was a lovely thing too.
Very nice.
But
you are actually now working back toward some more, you're planning a season.
That is what we're planning. Now, again, we haven't announced the lineup. We
Sure.
have the dates, and
Yeah.
but we have not announced the lineup because, again, it depends so much on what the situation is, what the size of the musicians on the stage, because we have to think, of course, about the safety of the musicians. Different kinds of instruments have different kinds of, in terms of, how much air is blowing in and out and all those kinds of things. So there's a lot to think about.
All right, but at least that's the exciting part.
Yes.
Is you're working towards
Our
something else.
65th season, yes. So absolutely we are.
Talking with Kathy Gerton from R.S.O. board president. You're also on the board of Richmond Art Museum.
Yes.
And I personally, having experienced it, but the 3D virtual art, the website, that's another instance of being able to take a situation that was traumatic and finding the positive and something that's actually worked and will continue.
And we'll continue, exactly.
Yeah.
We have another project there, R.A.M. Van Gogh, with our van that goes around to the schools with different things. So I think one of the very great strengths that I love about Richmond is the way the arts organizations work together and support each other. And I think that's what's so great about both the Symphony and the Richmond Art Museum, is they work together closely. Everyone's trying to figure our way through this pandemic, and it's been really great to have support.
But as you work out, you're now, I cross my fingers when I say it, but as we're working our way through this and now
Yes.
on the backside, it's exciting now to begin to be able to plan and put dates to it and see exciting events that are on the schedule again.
Yes, I cannot wait to be back in the hall. I know our musicians can't, and we're all very excited about a great season coming up.
Kathy Gerton from Richmond Symphony Orchestra and also Richmond Art Museum. Thank you for joining us.
You're most welcome.
This episode of Access to the Arts is being made possible through the support of First Bank Richmond, with 8 locations serving Wayne County. First Bank Richmond and you, doing great things together.